Hello, hello, thanks for stopping by. This is Slalom for the NES, developed by Rare and released for the arcade Versus system in 1986, and then finally for the console in 1987. This was one of the original black box games, from the last wave of black box games actually, and now, not all the games in this series are great, but overall it did give us Super Mario Bros. And Excitebike. These were the games that kind of launched the NES system. This was apparently the first game that was developed for the NES outside of Japan. Now, Rare, as a developer, they created many noticeable games over the years. Donkey Kong Country, Banjo-Kazooie, RC Pro-Am, which is a huge favorite of mine, and Battletoads, and that's just a few of them. More recently, they're part of the game Sea of Thieves. I haven't played that, but it's definitely out there. Slalom, as you would imagine, from the title anyway, it's a downhill skiing game. There's no story to speak of here, it's just really a high score type of game. I personally tend to care less about my actual score here. I really just find myself wanting to survive. I've also played this one enough to know that I kinda tend to focus too much on trying to go really fast, as opposed to just trying to focus and dodge the problems. We get 3 different peaks here that you can ski, and they're basically beginner, novice, and expert mountains. Each mountain is going to have 8 trails, so 24 courses in total, which is far more than I really would have expected for a game like this. At first I thought, oh, we've got 3 different trails, and that's it? Okay, I wasn't too shocked, but then I realized that each mountain has a whole bunch of courses. The controls here are fairly simple. You press down on the gamepad if you want to slow down, and you press forward to speed up. Left and right are going to move you in those directions, and either A or B, if you press them, they're going to make you jump. Each course has a timer, and to beat the stage, you need to get to the bottom of the mountain before the timer runs out. The course is just going to be a series of lefts and rights and obstacles that are just trying to prevent you from getting to the bottom. First, you're going to need to go between any flag markers that appear. If you miss a marker, it's going to slow you down just a little. You also need to dodge all of the obstacles. Some of them are going to be moving, and some are going to be stationary. First, you get moguls. Those are the bumps in the trail, and you can dodge them, jump them, or just ride over them. You don't need to jump over them, but if you ride over them, they're going to basically jump you in the air without you having to press the button, if you hit them just right. If you get them in the middle, it's going to launch you in the air. When you're in the air, if you press down, you're going to perform a trick. That gets you some points at the end of the stage. If you hit the mogul too far to one of the sides, you're just going to bump off of it, and I'm pretty sure that slows you down a little. So you have to get used to hitting them kind of in the middle if possible. Now the stationary items that you have to avoid are going to be trees and snowmen. And the moving items, they're going to be other skiers and little kids on sleds. Now the kids on the sleds are a little strange to me. They zip back and forth across the screen, which, if this was a real ski trail, is really dangerous. But as I'm playing it, it kind of looks like they're sledding in the opposite direction of how we're skiing. So we're going downhill. To me, it looks like they're kind of sledding uphill. It looks kind of odd to me, but I can see that they did need another obstacle, and having a kid on a sled does fit the bill, so I guess I can only complain so much. When you get to the bottom of the hill, your points are going to be tallied, and you might get put on the leaderboard. This is early NES, though, so any high score that you have, unless you're using save states on a modern version, if you're using the cartridge, it's only temporary. They don't store the scores on the cart. I think the graphics here are fairly standard for an early NES game. They're pretty solid. They're maybe not as good as some other games, and they're certainly not as bad as some of the black box games. There are some black box games that are actually really dull and don't hold up. This one's not so bad. I think this was a solid early NES experience. It's definitely a far cry from some of their other NES games. I mean, this is from the crew that made us Battletoads. That's a fairly large jump in terms of, I don't know, game quality, game style perhaps. Very different, but this one is a solid enough game. I picked this up and I play it for a while. It's that sort of a category. You know, you play with your friends a little bit, you know, try to get the high score. It's probably not too much more excitement past having that type of an experience. I suppose if you were playing this emulated somewhere with save states, you're going to be able to get much further than you can get if you're just popping in the cart. But Overall, this is a pretty decent game. I'm glad I have it in the collection. Well, that's all I have today for Slalom for the NES. Thanks for stopping by for a look, and I hope to catch you on another video.